Can you stay a while? Hello, hello. Good to see you smile.
Have you ever wondered what happened to Burger Chef? If you grew up in the 1960s or 70s, chances are you remember it well. They had the best kids' meals back then, and their toppings bar was amazing. And if you think no other burger has ever matched their flavor, you're in the right place. Today, we're diving into the history of one of America's most iconic fast food chains. Imagine this, it's the 1970s, and you're walking into a busy Burger Chef. It's Friday night, the perfect spot to hang out with friends or spend time with family. Everyone's at the famous Works Bar, taking their plain burgers and piling on their favorite toppings. A good-sized burger for just 15 cents. It was so much fun. That's just how it was back then. But Burger Chef wasn't just any restaurant, it was a game changer. It came up with ideas like kids' meal combos and cool marketing with themed toys, even teaming up with Star Wars. It wasn't just keeping up, it was setting trends that other fast food places copied later. Curious to know what happened to this classic, or if it's still around today? Stay with us until the end of the video. Ready?
Delicious food in a happy place.
Incredible!
To understand why Burger Chef was such a big deal, we need to go back to 1954. That's when two brothers, Frank and Donald Thomas, had a big idea. They wanted to change fast food forever. Back then, fast food was pretty basic with little choice. But the brothers wanted to make things more exciting. The first Burger Chef opened in Indianapolis, Indiana, and it wasn't like other places. While most fast food restaurants had small menus, Burger Chef had something special, the Works Bar. This was a place where customers could pick their favorite toppings and create their own burgers. It made eating out fun because everyone's meal could be just the way they liked it. People loved it, and the restaurant quickly became popular. By the 1960s, the chain was everywhere, opening hundreds of new restaurants across the United States. By 1973, it was at its peak, with over 1,050 locations in the U.S. It was even the second biggest fast food chain in the country, right behind McDonald's. But it wasn't just the food that made people love Burger Chef. It was the place to hang out on weekends and meet friends. Many families even liked Burger Chef more than McDonald's. Let the battle begin. Whose side are you on? I know which one I would pick. Well, it was always exciting to go there. The restaurants had cool designs with hanging lights and comfy spots to sit. Some locations even had jukeboxes that played everyone's favorite songs. Burger Chef was always thinking ahead and doing things that no one else was doing. For example, in 1973, they were the first to create kids' combo meals. These meals came with food, dessert, and a toy. And those toys were amazing. There were little action figures, puzzles, paper puppets, and even tiny building kits. But one of the most famous moments was when Burger Chef teamed up with Star Wars. They gave out toys based on the characters and spaceships from the movies, which were loved by kids and grown-ups alike. Everyone left the restaurant with a smile and a toy in their hands. I remember it so well. I even got the famous Darth Vader poster to hang on my bedroom door. And people think McDonald's invented the fun meal? Oh man. Burger Chef should have gotten credit for the first boxed meal with a toy. Growing up in the 70s was full of fun things. And one thing we absolutely have to talk about is the legendary Big Chef and Super Chef. The Big Chef had a delicious special sauce, fresh lettuce, melted cheese, and so much flavor that people kept coming back for more. It was kind of like the Big Mac. And the Super Chef was similar to the Whopper. But let's be honest, Burger Chef tasted so much better. I really wish they'd bring it back. Just talking about it is making me hungry. These iconic burgers were absolutely delicious, a far cry from the cardboard burgers you sometimes find today. They were also famous for their flame-grilled hamburger that cost just 15 cents. And they were doing it even before Burger King. For only 45 cents, you could get a full meal with a burger, fries, and a milkshake. It was called the Triple Treat. Burger Chef also made life easier with their drive-ins. These were perfect for families, couples, or anyone who wanted a quick, fresh meal without getting out of the car. In the 70s, this was a big deal. A lot of people remember the mascots Burger Chef and Jeff. Their commercials were so much fun and had catchy songs that kids absolutely loved. Parents liked it too, because the food was cheap and super quick. You could get a nice-sized burger for less than $1, and the whole family could eat without spending a fortune. Can you believe those prices? I'm tearing up just thinking about how cheap food used to be back in the good old days. On weekends, the restaurants were always packed with parents, kids, groups of friends, and young couples. Going there was a big deal. Maybe you even worked there during the summer, earning 90 cents an hour. It was a great place to learn about being on time and doing your job right. Or maybe you remember getting one of their fun meal boxes. It was always such a treat. And Burger Chef let you take charge of your burger. Instead of handing you something already made, they had the Works Bar, just like we mentioned before. You felt like a real chef, creating your perfect burger just the way you liked it. For every taste, there were endless combinations to try. And who could forget those King Kong glasses or the Star Wars posters? Thinking about all of this really brings back memories. With over 1,000 locations back then, it's easy to see why Burger Chef was more than just a place to eat. It was
Incredible!
As much as we wish this famous place could have lasted forever, the fast food world in the 1970s and 80s was tough, even for the most loved restaurants. Do you remember the first time you noticed your favorite location had closed? It felt like losing a piece of your childhood. But what caused this once popular chain to disappear? One big reason was competition. Chains like Burger King, McDonald's, and Wendy's were growing quickly, adding more menu options and improving how they worked to attract more customers. This restaurant was known for its creativity, but it focused mostly on a few main items. At first, that was exciting, but over time, people wanted more variety, and the simpler menu started to feel outdated compared to its rivals. Money was another challenge. In the late 70s, the cost of ingredients went up, and running the restaurants got harder. When General Foods bought the chain in 1968, fans hoped it would become even stronger. But instead of building on what made it special, the new management made changes that didn't connect with customers. Do you remember the famous Big Chef and Super Chef burgers? Over time, small changes to the recipes and ingredients made them lose some of their original magic. People noticed, and the trust they had in the food, a trust built through years of great flavors, started to fade. Cultural and technological changes also made an impact. Drive-ins, once a big part of this restaurant's success, lost popularity as indoor dining and drive-through windows took over. McDonald's mastered the drive-through, and Burger Chef couldn't keep up. By the 1980s, around 650 locations were sold to Hardee's, which turned them into their own restaurants. Unfortunately, the quality dropped right away, and it was clear that people stopped going there. Many locations closed or were sold to other restaurants, and the Burger Chef name slowly disappeared. Do you remember when your local spot started getting less busy or even closed for good? By 1996, the very last restaurant closed its doors. That was the official end of an era. Today, there are no locations left. All we have are memories. And maybe an old ad or toy you found at a thrift shop to remind us of those good times. Even though it's gone, this chain made a big impact on fast food and American culture, don't you think? Ideas like the Works Bar and kids' meal combos were so ahead of their time that other restaurants still use them today. Although Burger Chef is no longer around, its story and impact on American culture remained strong. It wasn't just a fast food chain, it was a pioneer that shaped the way we eat, market, and think about fast food today. Their fun meals, customizing your burger at the Works Bar, enjoying the Big Chef and Super Chef, it all felt so special. No one made it taste like this chain. Seriously, it was the best tasting. Even years after its closing, this restaurant still lives in the memories of those who grew up with it. If I could spend just one more day in a time long gone, I'd probably have lunch at Burger Chef. We didn't have much growing up in the 60s and 70s, so a trip there was huge for us kids. And for many, Burger Chef wasn't just about the food, it was also their first job. As a teenager, you'd learn the importance of showing up on time and doing your job right. This was a place where you not only earned a paycheck, but also made memories. It was where we'd hang out for hours on weekends, meeting friends, laughing, and just having fun. What days those were. Sadly, despite all its innovations, Burger Chef's story is a reminder of how tough and fast-changing the restaurant world can be. Even with all its creativity, the chain couldn't keep up with rising costs, changing trends, and strong competitors. So, do you miss this place? What was your go-to order? Share your favorite memories in the comments, and let's keep this piece of history alive.